It is difficult to put into words the way you feel when hours of your hard work are about to be put to the test. When I first got this hammer mill, it was rusty, rotten, and basically forgotten about. But after all that work, it's time to hook it up to the tractor and see if it works. That's what we're doing today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. So not too much has changed on this thing since the last video about the hammer mill. The main differences are, like I said, small but important. So the first thing is it is now sitting on a frame where I can hook it up to the 3-point on the tractor and easily move it around. And the other reason that I wanted to mount it this way is because since we're driving it on the PTO, I wanted to have something that would hold it securely. So I don't know, if anything were to happen, the tractor is holding the hammer mill and it can't fall over or anything like that. The other big difference you guys are probably going to notice is this pipe coming out of the fan in this metal screen sock. Now, the sock here is temporary. This is just for our test. Originally, what I was thinking of doing was putting a bucket here to catch the ground up rice, and I started thinking, no, that's not going to work because this fan is blowing all that air. You try to put a bucket there, it's just going to make a mess and swirl around everywhere. So the screen should catch all the ground up rice, and it's not really going to contain the dust, I don't think. But we've got a little breeze today, so I think as long as I'm standing in the right spot, I should be okay. So eventually what this will do, or the plan, is we'll have a ducting pipe come straight up, a 90-degree elbow go over into a bin that'll catch all the ground up grain so that I can grind up like a couple thousand pounds at a time and just have it shoot right into a storage bin. In the first video about the hammer mill, I think I spoke briefly about the screens, but I'm not sure if I showed them to you guys. I don't think I did. So here's one of the screens that came with the hammer mill. It's got really big holes in it. I mean, I can stick a finger through easily. This is way too big for what we're doing. I think this one was probably for corn cobs or hay or something like that. But let me show you the screen that I made that we're going to use for the rice. So I'll try to hold this up close to the camera so you guys can see the holes a little bit better. But these holes are probably about 1/8 of an inch, or yeah, I think that's what they are, 1/8 of an inch. So these are going to grind the rice up fairly fine and be just about perfect for what we're doing. So if you don't know how a hammer mill works and you don't understand why the screen hole sizes matter, let me show you. So with this hood pulled up, this should be able to give you a better vantage point of kind of how this works. So as the rice falls in the top, these hammers are spinning at a really high rate of speed. And as they spin around and the rice falls down on them, it is breaking it up into smaller pieces. So as the hammers are breaking up the rice or whatever kind of grain you're putting in there, the fan over here is pulling the grain down through the screen. So that's why the size of your screen holes matter so much, because that is going to determine how big the final product is. Obviously, if these holes are big, whole kernels of rice could go through there no problem, but since we have these little 1/8-inch holes, the rice is going to have to break up pretty fine before it can be sucked through there. So after the grain is broken down in a small enough piece where it can fit through the hole in the screen, the fan sucks it up through here. Just think of this like a huge vacuum cleaner, basically. Into the fan, up through the pipe, and eventually into a bin, but for today's test, it will go into this metal screen sock. Well, I guess we could talk about it till we're blue in the face, or I could just go get the tractor, hook it up, and try it out. So I'm just going to start with a 5-gallon bucket of rice, and I think that'll be a good amount to give this thing a test. So let me show you what the rice looks like before we grind it. This rice has a lot of bald kernels in it and a little bit of chaff as well, but I think it should still grind up good. If the grinder can't handle this, then I'm gonna say it's not working right. Well, here goes nothing. All right, well, our test is done. Let's get a look at the results. So all this white you see on the ground is dust. So I'm surprised at how much dust just a 5-gallon bucket made. I mean, all of this is just from that one 5-gallon bucket. Just judging by our little catch sock here, or catch bag, it looks like it did a really good job. So let's empty this out and get a better look at it. All right, so this is our finished product now. I am so happy with this. I mean, this is like really fine, almost a little more coarse than beach sand. It looks great. The other thing I noticed is now this 5-gallon bucket is just a little over half full, and I know that obviously with it being ground up like that, it's going to sit in there a lot flatter, but I think we lost quite a bit just in dust blowing out of there too. Still, this looks great. Well guys, I am really pleased with how this thing worked. It exceeded my expectations. I honestly did not think it was going to work that good, but those are the exact results that I was hoping to get. The one thing that I did learn with this though is that I need to go through and try to seal up every little crack on that, because everywhere you have a crack, that's a place that you're going to lose grain. And I mean, just looking at how much is left on the ground here from one 5-gallon bucket, I can only imagine how much would be left over if I tried to run 1,000 pounds of rice through that thing. Thanks for hanging out at the shop with me today, guys. I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.